Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about some tips and tricks, some things you might not know, and some overall helpful features that you just might not have heard of in Grand Theft Auto Online. So before we jump into some of the helpful things I'm going to be talking about today, the first thing I want to address up is it looks like the free $250,000 that Rockstar said they were going to be giving individuals is finally starting to roll out. I'll show an image on the screen right now of what it's going to look like in the game. Isn't really anything too surprising or shocking here. It'll just say, congratulations, you've been awarded $250,000. Now, I warned you guys about this a couple days ago that some people might be getting it earlier than others. I don't know how this process works. I don't know how Rockstar ultimately rolls out this free money, but it definitely seems as if some people are getting this earlier because I've gotten tweets from people saying they don't have the money. I've gotten obviously tweets like that from people that say they do have the money, which is obviously a good thing. Now, Rockstar stated that everyone's accounts will be given money by November 4th. So that means by November 4th. Some people will get it today. Some people will get it tomorrow. Some people will get it on November 4th. There is no rule that says you're going to be getting it at a certain time, just by November 4th. So keep that in mind and start going on your Grand Theft Auto Online accounts. Once again, you had to have signed in to Grand Theft Auto Online by Halloween in order to have received this free money. So keep that in mind. If you didn't sign in, you shouldn't see this message, but if you did, you should see it by the 4th of November. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I've been getting a ton of questions and a ton of responses, and now it finally looks like it's starting to roll out, so that's super cool. Now, let's move on to what I want to talk about today with some helpful tips and tricks, and I can tell you that one of the most annoying things right now is the constant calls from Long John Teabag, or LJT. So LJT was introduced in the game with the biker businesses on the Open Road website. And if you're like me now, you don't really do the MC businesses anymore. And most of my warehouses or my drug places are sitting on empty stock or are either raided or have no supplies. And what that means is about every 2 minutes in game, Long John Teabag constantly calls me. And it's the most annoying thing in the world. He calls during my car shows, in the middle of battles, when I'm driving. It's so annoying. His calls are very pesky, very bothersome. And when I'm not doing the missions, I really don't want to hear from him. And a lot of people have been asking, how do you stop getting the calls from him? Well, I'm going to tell you in an 8-step process how to properly shut down an MC business and to make LJT stop calling you for good. So like I said, this is an 8-step process, and this is going to be a little tricky, but if you do this correctly, you should be good to go. So step number 1, you need to go to the laptop inside of the business that you desire to be shut down. So it doesn't matter what it's going to be. It can be coke, it can be methamphetamines, it doesn't matter. This is going to work with any of the business. Step number 2, you need to sell any of the remaining product in the business and complete the mission. So essentially, you need to be left with 0 product in your inventory. You can either do this by selling or by having it blown up. It doesn't really matter as long as you get to 0. Step number 3, you then need to return to the laptop inside the business and check the supply level. So this is where we're going to hit a fork in the road because there's going to be 2 scenarios here. If your supply level is green, what you can do is simply shut down the business. You don't have to do any other steps, and then you're done. You can enjoy some peace and quiet, and your supplies will be waiting for you when you decide to restart the business. So if your supplies are green, all you have to do is hit shut down, and you're good to go. If your supply level is red, what you then need to do is click resupply, and then either steal the supplies or buy them. Once again, it doesn't matter what you do here, stealing them, buying them, the results are going to be the same. You need to complete the supply mission and or wait out until you receive a notification that the supplies have been delivered. Now, once the supplies have been delivered, what you immediately want to do is go back into your warehouse and then simply shut down the business like you would if you had a green bar from the start. And that's it. You're going to be good to go. Now your business is completely shut down. And as I mentioned earlier, your supplies are going to be waiting for you when you decide to restart the business. Now, in order to successfully do this and in order to end all calls from LJT, you're going to have to do this for every single business you own. Now, unfortunately for me, I have 5 businesses, and for the sake of this video, I only showed off 1, but I'm sure many of you guys only have 1 business, maybe even 2 or 3 at the max, so this will be pretty easy for you to do in no time, and this will allow you to never receive phone calls again from LJT. Now, you might have heard from some people that you can go into options or settings and turn off notifications notifications, but disabling phone alerts will disable invites from other players to missions. It won't change the frequency of contacts calling you, but by doing this, you will completely eliminate LJT calling you. And on top of this, this is also a great way to prevent your business from being raided or from having your stock levels go down or something like that, or having people steal your supply. It's a great way to just prevent that from happening. And as I mentioned, at the same rate, you can completely avoid those constant LJT phone calls that I believe are the most annoying thing in the game. If you guys have been watching my car shows recently or my live streams, you can just count the number of times he calls me. It's easily like 20 or 30 times in an hour or 2 hour period, which is completely outrageous. So hopefully this will help you, and hopefully you'll never have to hear from LJT again if you don't want to, which is always a great option. Now let's talk about some other cool features, tips, and tricks you might not know about. This one is kind of funny, and I thought this one was hilarious. So I was browsing Reddit the other day, and someone brought up a really cool kind of like little detail that Rockstar have included into the game. And it's amazing the little details that Rockstar put in this game that really make Grand Theft Auto 5 special. So what I'm talking about here is you can actually get into like a fire truck war with another NPC. So basically what this is going to require is you to have a fire truck and then an NPC to have a fire truck, preferably the firefighters that you can call via the emergency services app. And if you spray water at their truck, what they'll actually do is kind of have a water hose war with you, which is actually hysterical. And you guys can see what's going on right now. It just looks absolutely ridiculous. You've got these two fire trucks driving in circles around each other, and they're just spraying each other with water. Imagine if you were a citizen of Los Santos and you saw something like this happening. What would your mind think of? And it's just really funny because the NPCs will try to shoot you with their water hose gun, and I think it's really funny. And eventually, if you just sit there and you just like go back and forth at each other, I think you'll eventually win. I don't know if I like drowned the two firefighters that were in their car, but I definitely ended up winning this battle. But I thought that was really funny, and it just looks super ridiculous. So if you want to try this out for yourself, it's something you can very much easily do with just two fire trucks in game. So definitely be sure to check that out. I had a blast doing this. Another tip, and this is something I saw was kind of interesting, especially if you have a female character, you might want to watch out for the types of shoes you wear. So I saw again on Reddit that someone pointed out that if you're a female and you wear high-heeled shoes or stilettos, that it'll actually make your character slightly taller, and that when you're crouching behind something, your head might be exposed. So I know all of us are looking to be fashionable in Grand Theft Auto Online, but that might not be the most practical approach if you're playing a game mode or you're doing something that requires, PvP, because you might be putting yourself at a severe disadvantage by making yourself taller than the other players, because that, like I said, will make it harder to crouch behind objects, make it more difficult to hide from other players, or might just give you away a little bit more easier. So keep that in mind. I'm not sure what effect that has on the male character or if it has a significant impact on the female character, but it is something I wanted to bring up just in case you guys might have been having an issue like that. Now let's talk about the favorite bike feature. This is something that was added in Grand Theft Auto Online Bikers, and not a lot of people understand how the favorite bike system works. We obviously get some health bonuses for it. There's some other, benefits that you get for having a favorite bike, but what determines the favorite bike and how can you tell? Well, if you go over to the start menu and you go to stats and then to vehicle, at the very top, you'll see favorite bike. So this is a great way for you to determine what the favorite bike is. You also kind of get a message in the MC interaction menu that kind of hints at which one it is. And I'm not sure how you can make your bike your favorite. I'm not sure what statistic it goes off of. My best guess would either be ride time or amount of time you have it set as your personal vehicle. For me, it's the Sanctus right now, which makes sense because I was using it all this weekend for the Halloween stuff. And when I was doing car shows and whatnot, I had it out pretty much for like hours at a time. So that would make sense that it is time you have as your personal vehicle and maybe less so of ride time. But still, that's really interesting and a great way how you can kind of check up on something like that. And speaking of the new vehicles, Rockstar don't allow us to have these vehicles in single player, which kind of makes it tough to test them out. And if you're not on a PC or you can't mod them into the game, sometimes it might be difficult to get a feel for the bike or the car you have before you want to purchase them. So I touched on this earlier, but I'll remind you guys again because we are expecting some expensive new vehicles like the Shotaro to come into the game soon. If you just go into the creator and you start something like a capture, what you can do is just start like a dummy capture mode and and you can just place down a bunch of the new vehicles you want. So for example, you can see what I'm about to do right now, which is just place down a bunch of Sanctus bikes. So if I was really on the fence about spending $2 million on the Sanctus, I could go in here, I could check it out, drive it around, see the customization, check out if I like it or whatnot. And that way I can get a better idea on if I want to spend $2 million on this vehicle. And as I stated, because we've got some expensive vehicles coming out soon, this could be a great way for you to test something before you ultimately buy it, which is great because everyone wants to be confident in their purchase. And unfortunately, because Rockstar don't put this stuff in single player, sometimes that can be a little bit tricky, but with this capture method, you can go around that pretty easily. But anyways, that's really all the information I have for you guys in this video today, all the tips and tricks that we're going to be going over in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you guys found one of these tips helpful or enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. I am going to be live streaming here in a bit on my channel, so please do stick around for that. We're going to be having a ton of fun. But of course, without the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.